Pedophilia is the most common paraphilia. Offenders are usually family, friends, or relatives. Types of activities vary and may include just looking at a child. I'll repeat that. May include just looking at a child. Pervert. Undressing and touching a child. However, acts often do involve oral sex or touching of genitals of the child or offender. Studies suggest that children who feel uncared for or lonely may be at higher risk. So that all you parents, all of you teachers, all of you support adults, all of you older teens, try and be nice to a kid. Try and give them support. Because the more support you give them, the less likely they're going to go out and find pieces of crap, pedophiles, to give them that support. No, Mr. Hockey Coach, that doesn't mean start groping and hugging the boys to make them feel like you're Mr. Special. That means mom, big brother, big sister, grandma, auntie, cousins. Start showing care and affection. It is the easiest way to save these kids. Let them know that you're there for them. So when one of these pedophile freaks comes up, you can help them out of that situation. Recurrent intense sexual fantasies. Fantasies. This is the definition of pedophile. You don't have to rape the child to be a pedophile. Are you sexually fantasizing about having any kind of sexual relationship in any way, no matter how minute, with a person under the legal age of consent? If the answer is yes to that, you're a pedophile. Some evidence that pedophilia may run in families, though it is unclear whether this stems from genetics or learned behavior. I believe that it's mostly learned behavior, and that would kind of support what the pedophiles say by, well, if we just tell the kids it's okay to molest them, they won't know there's anything wrong with it, which would then have those kids turning around and start molesting and raping other young kids, right? Bad idea, assholes. Ooh, okay, I'm getting really angry here. But the morality of some of my fellow YouTubers that have constantly come at me telling me I don't know what a pedophile is. I know what a pedophile is, and I know what a child molester is. Pray you never do. Research suggests that cognitive behavioral models are effective in treating paraphiliacs. Aversive conditioning involves using negative stimuli to reduce or eliminate a behavior. Ooh, I'm liking this. Let's hook them up to a nice car battery, one on each little ball, and every time you get a fantasy going, we'll just zap you up. This I like. Oh, but they'll say good job if you feel like you shouldn't rape kids. Let's go see what somebody else has to say. Maybe we should go on a little bit further here, pedophiles and pederasts and such. Dictionaryreverso.net. Definition, pedophile. What do we have? A very slow page. A very questionable page. I'm thinking, let's try this one. Nah, that's pretty much useless. Where there's one, there's a million more, right? Ooh, okay. Someone should have a clue what they're talking about. The Mayo Clinic. MayoClinicProceedings.com. Go ahead, feel free to visit these sites. Pedophile of a Where are we? Pedophiles. What is pedophilia? Clinical diagnosis usually made by a psychiatrist or a psychologist. It is not a criminal or legal term, such as forcible sexual offense, which is the legal term often used in criminal stats. Federal Bureau of Investigations reports definition of forcible sexual offenses includes any sexual act directed against another person. Yeah, well, here we are, more about the adult issues, aren't we? Let's move down. By diagnostic criteria of Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 4th edition, a pedophile is an individual who fantasizes about, again, an individual who fantasizes about. How much clearer can I make this? No, you pedophile and you pedophile supporter, you don't make the definitions, and whether you agree with them or not does not take away from the fact that that is what it is. Whether or not you have actually had sexual touching, intercourse, or other with that child, if you are fantasizing about it, wanting it, thinking about it, dreaming about it, you are a pedophile pig. Suck it up, put a gun to your head. Pedophile is an individual who fantasizes about, is sexually aroused by, or experiences sexual urges toward prepubescent children, generally 13 years, for a period of at least 6 months. So if you like have one slip up and you go, oh, gee, she's kind of cute, but you walk away, leave her alone, you might not be a pedophile. Paul Savay, months and months and months later, after all those phone calls, you are a pedophile. Generally, the individual, the pedophile, must be at least 16 years of age and at least 5 years older than the juvenile of interest to meet the criteria for pedophilia. Now, all those people who say, oh, geez, because some 17-year-old kid's having sex with a 9-year-old, well, that would make them a pedophile. Yeah. Now, was a 15-year-old having sex with a 14-year-old? No, that makes them a promiscuous teenager. That makes them experimental. Hopefully, they at least use some sort of protection. They're not exchanging diseases and bringing new babies into the world. But they're not a pedophile. Cases that involve adolescent offenders, factors such as emotional and sexual maturity, may be taken into account before a diagnosis of pedophilia is made. The creep that used to run the Alice radio, yeah, Alice, you're a pedophile. Does it matter that you are not 18 years old? No, it matters that you are seeking and or having continual and ongoing relationships with people under the legal age of consent. Aside from the fact you've aged since you started that. Pedophiles usually report their attraction begins around the time of their puberty or adolescence, but this sexual attraction to children can also develop later in life. Yeah, usually about the time someone 40 or older says, screw you, hey, Paul? Clinical diagnosis of pedophilia is based on a specific act. It usually is not solely the result of intoxication or caused by another state or condition that may affect judgment, such as mania. That means, no, you can't blame it on anything else. Go ahead, get drunk, but if you rape that child, you're still a pedophile child molester. These cases are distinguished from pedophilia by the act being contrary to the individual's usual sexual behavior or fantasies. So if you got so drunk you accidentally fell inside of a 12-year-old, you might stand a chance at a claim. However, if this was not your first 12-year-old that you accidentally fell inside of, you can kiss that claim goodbye. Oh, let's try somebody else. You know, because I mean, I would assume that most of you have got the hint by now that you do not actually have to rape a child in order to be a pedophile. That is an extreme level, and that takes you into the child molesting, sexual assault, rapist parts. Oh, should we discuss pederasty here? Maybe. I'm not finding it yet. We'll have to just look that up. Anyways, I'll just give you a quick definition. Pederasty is a subsection of a paraphilia. Pederasty is the fantasy of anal sex, usually restricted to men who are participating in this sexual activity with underage boys. Not exclusive, but usually. Exposing oneself. Flashers. Again, paraphiles. Now, if you take that step up further and you are exposing yourself to children, pedophiles. Sex with animals makes you part of the category bestiality. You bring that chicken to bed while you're molesting a child, aside from being someone who really, really should be drowned slowly, you're a pedophile. You are a paraphile. You are a sicko piece of dirt garbage. This should be ended. I know I am not going to encourage vigilante justice. I didn't have the courage to kill the piece of crap pedophiles in my world. Although I do believe that had I, there would have been a lot less damage to other people.